Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Anusha from Wilgrow, and we are super excited to welcome you all for the day 2 of Unconvention 2021. Unconvention is Wilgrow's annual convening for social entrepreneurs, and this is our 12th year. The theme for Unconvention 2021 is remodeling for resilience, and for the first time, this is being hosted completely online. So this year, Unconvention is a 3-day convening, and the days have been divided into sub-themes of building better, building bigger, and building meaningfully. So there are multiple parallel panel discussions, fireside chats, master classes, and networking lounges that are taking place throughout the day. And some are even rather late in the evening due to the international nature of our audience. So for the first session of the day, which is hosted by our networking partner, AGNIi, we have members from the AGNIi team speak about the innovation landscape of the country and how the mission is enabling social impact startups reach new adopters and achieve scale. So before I hand it over, a quick intro about AGNIi. It is a mission from the Office of the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India and is being executed by Invest India. So over to you, Ananya and Prakash.
Hello everyone, I'm Ananya Chakraborty from AGNIi Mission of the Office of the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India. Thank you, Anusha, for the introduction. Today with me, we also have my colleague, Prakash Mishra. Yeah.
Hi everyone.
So today we'll be talking to you about AGNIi, and Anusha, if I could request you to please make the presentation. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, so as already told by Anusha, the AGNIi is actually a mission which comes under the broader PM STAC umbrella. PM STAC is the Prime Minister's Science, Technology and Innovation Advisory Council. It's headed by the Honorable Prime Minister and co-chaired by Dr. K. Vijay Raghavan, who is the Principal Scientific Advisor. And next slide. So the Office of the PSA actually is the apex scientific institution of the country, and it runs 9 different missions, including the Artificial Intelligence mission, the Biodiversity mission, the Deep Ocean Exploration mission, up to and so on till AGNIi. These are all the areas of government priority in scientific research and execution at the time being. And each of these missions is headed by one institution, like artificial intelligence is headed by NITI Aayog, Waste to Wealth and AGNIi are headed by Invest India. Now coming to Invest India is a national investment promotion and facilitation agency, and it comes under the broader Commerce and Industry Ministry. Invest India really started in 2008, but it kind of expanded manyfold and got into newer terrains around 2014, 2015. This is the time when Invest India actually attracted talent from many top tier academic institutions in the country as well as abroad, around also a lot of senior executives from the private sector. And after making a successful inroad into getting FDI into the country, it was actually expanded, and a number of different government ministries started outsourcing many of their major projects to us. And similarly, AGNIi was handed over to Invest India right at the moment of its inception. Yeah, next slide, please. So yeah, so the AGNIi Mission's Executive Council consists of top scientists of the country, Dr. Aurobindo Mitra, who's the scientific secretary from the Office of PSA, a number of different senior scientists like Dr. Anita Gupta, Dr. Suresh Kumar, then then Mr. Deepak Bagla, the MD and CEO of Invest India, a lot of very senior corporate executives like Ms. Kirloskar from Kirloskar Industries, development organizations like from the Tata Trust, Social Alpha. And the team internally, the AGNIi team is headed by Mr. Rahul Nair, who is the VP of AGNIi Invest India and also is a part of the council. So yeah, so coming to that was a broad background as to the organizational structure of the mission. Now coming to what exactly we do. And so AGNIi's mandate is to commercialize technology which is developed in India. Now, a lot of talks have recently been going on about the innovation ecosystem of the country, As you would know, in the Global Innovation Index, India is for the first time in the top 50 performing countries. And a number of global conglomerates and a number of research-based organizations are actually coming to India now and investing. Like India is one of the major hubs of research and development outside their outside their headquarters. So in India, as well as in the last couple of decades, we have seen huge growth in the information communication technology field and AI and ML. So AGNIi, what it tries to do is to focus on these industries as well as many more deep tech missions and help those technologies gain commercial access. When we talk about commercialization, we primarily look at two things to kind of assess a technology's potential and to see how we can help them. So basically, we look at the economic value of it and the social value. So the economic value would be, the technology which is developed in India, what is up to how much of revenue can it attract, like what kind of grants it might get from the different organizations, what will be like, the corporate interest. And when it comes to the social value, we actually look at how it will upgrade the institutional capacities of NGOs, social sector organizations, and how it will augment the human development capabilities. Yeah, next slide. So internally, the AGNIi team is divided into technology management, technology scaling, and technology adoption. In technology management, the people they actually interact with the different startups, interact with individual innovators, as well as research labs, say like the CSIR labs, the DST labs, and IISc Bangalore, as well as academic institutes like the top IITs in the country, the top NITs, Triple IT. So what we do is we get those top startups or cutting edge research technology from these labs and these startups and help them go to the next stage, which can be either initial scaling or final adoption. So for scaling, we have a number of partners. This is where we look at our network partnerships. And so we have a number of accelerators and incubators. Depending on where a startup is on the life cycle, it might need an incubator to kind of get to a point where it can reach its first few customers, or it might need an accelerator program to really be going from a smaller to a bigger market. Then we also look at investors, and these investors can again be angel investors who are doing a pre-seed level funding, or a seed stage funding, as well as bigger VC firms and social impact firms, and which do generally up to a Series A. For financial institutions, we have banks for the loans and other debt equity. For MSMEs, actually, it's like a very specific thing we focus on. Licensing of technologies, which is developed by individual innovators, is something which our MSMEs are very interested in and something that AGNIi is dedicatedly looking into. And when it comes to the last team, the technology adoption, they are the ones who are working with the end users of technology, which can be like a big multinational corporation, say like an Accenture or a Qualcomm or Cisco. We work with these organizations, and whenever we know their problem statements, we reach out to our network. We do either a one-on-one scouting, we see their problems, and since we know the startups in the ecosystem, we make those connections. Otherwise, we do an open call. Like, it depends on what the organization wants. We can open up their problem statement to our huge innovation network, and then applications come from there. So it can be a global corporate, it can be a large Indian company, say a Tata Motors, a Marico. So these are all the organizations I'm naming are some of the few that we have already worked with. And we are continuously looking at more and more industries to join. Then comes the government departments or ministries, which is something Prakash will be speaking in details in the second round, in the second half, where he'll be talking about his engagement with the CSAs. And we have also worked with multiple different ministries, like Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. We are working in the recent past. We actually did in the Uttarakhand flood relief efforts, we have actually worked very actively with NDRF to help them with technologies which can help them do their rescue operations faster. Then development organizations is also something that Prakash will speak about. And we have worked with multilateral organizations and other development organizations and social sector organizations to help impact sector startups scale. Apart from that, there are a few mature startups in the Indian ecosystem who are looking at consolidation or working partnering with smaller startups regarding their sourcing. So we also have those startups gain access to the remaining part of the ecosystem. Yeah. Next slide. How we do this broadly is I have already identified. Initially, it's mostly demand driven. So we go to the corporates, we go to the government departments, we go to the development organizations, and we ask them for their problem statements. Once we have those use cases, we go back to the innovation ecosystem and we do the technology scouting and the shortlisting. And again, it can be done one-on-one, it can be done through an open call. So it really depends on the needs of the industry. And once we have those technologies, we do a technology showcase. Now the showcase increasingly is more of virtual technology showcase events, but it can also be us sharing a list of technologies with a partner and then them coming forward with their preferences, and then we go back to the startup ecosystem and kind of make those one-on-one connections. So in this way, the technology is like, depending on where they are on their life cycle, some need de-risking support, like some wants to get onboarded onto a GEM portal, or someone needs product development support. So we do all those. And then otherwise, they can be getting technology deployment. So these are pilot orders or bigger market orders for individual innovators. It often is licensing of their technologies. So through these broader engagement model, these are the main outcomes that we try to achieve. AGNIi has recently also gotten into impact assessment of the different interventions that we help our partners to develop. So we have developed AGNIi's own HDIMPA, Human Development Impact Assessment Matrix, which is helping us do this scaling in a more informed way. Next slide. So yeah, now I'll give it over to my colleague Prakash.
Thank you, everyone. I hope I'm clearly audible. My name is Prakash and I work with AGNIi team, as I mentioned, and I'm human development. When we talk about human development, this includes agriculture, rural livelihood, animal husbandry, food processing, rural infrastructure, and so on and so forth. So our first challenge was to understand what are the risks in the market, or how can we facilitate technology deployment. So when we work with our partners, when we work with the innovators, we started identifying various demand-driven pain points. So I'm just going to talk about certain pain points here and what were the general profile. So if you look into the table, the first risk here was adoption risk. So we realized that there is a huge disparity with grounds of the innovator and the end user. So it means what innovators think that their product is delivering and what the end users are expecting are very two different ways. So it's not user centric, and that's why the innovators are not able to penetrate the market, and the products are not getting positive use. So this was one of the greatest risks we identified, and we thought that how can we assess, how can we solve these problems. The second was the geographic specific, because India is a vast country. As we move 10 kilometers away, the language itself changes. Then we realized, based on our geography, the demand of innovation also changes. So the problem might be the same, but demand, the way innovations are, it started getting different. So we were looking for how what are the challenges in all the geographies, and how can we customize the innovations according to the geographic centricity. Second was technology risk. So what we realized that there are early adopters which are extremely few. So most of the people in the ecosystem are willing to adopt the technologies, and that's a problem. Is a basic problem when you adopting the technology, how you are able to understand the use of it. The second was because early adopters are not available, so pilot opportunities are very rare than the adoption after pilot. So we saw that if a startup is able to get a pilot opportunity, then there is a chance that adoption will automatically increase. Then the third, finance risk. There are despite measures of financial inclusions among farmers discrepancies.
Prakash, sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but your voice is breaking a lot. So would you want to once check your internet?
Yeah, sure.
Or if you want to go on headphones, I think that would be great as well.
I hope it's fine now.
Slightly better. Please continue. If there's any issue, I'll just sort of
Okay. Okay, sure. Thank you. So coming back to the topic, I'm sorry for the internet connectivity issues. So finances. We realize that there are discrepancies in the finance support. There are lack of agriculture insurances. There are lack of availability of loan waivers, and so FPOs and FPCs are also funding their finance. But unfortunately, they have a very limited finance, so they are not willing to accept invest into the new technologies. So that was one of the challenges. The fourth was the challenge of scale. As mentioned in the adoption is the first point. Require geography specific innovations. As since there are varied geographies, then the needs are also. So that was the market risk in the scaling part. There's no formalized channels for organic exchange of information. So in the rural sector, especially in the rural sector, there are various different adopters are there, and they all are working in silos. So it was very difficult to get organic information from where you can get all sort of pointers which is required in a technology or how to solve a problem. Next slide, please. So since in our previous analyzing the risk, when we analyze the whole risk, we identified. So we decided how can we tackle these problems, and there are some examples. As you see, we work with very closely with one of the partners called Common Service Center. It's an SPV in the Ministry of Electronics. We work with Mandeshi Foundation. We work with, of course, Wilco, and we work with other foundations as well, just to understand and just to create a sensitization about the technologies, just to make the people aware about what technologies are available, and in the R&D and in the startup ecosystem, how they can these technologies to to sort of increase their livelihood opportunity. Next slide, please. So as I move forward, I'm going to talk about 3 case studies, and each case study will show different problems. So the first case study is RUTAG and Jaipur Rugs engagement. RUTAG is Rural Technology Action Group, which is present at 7 IITs, and it is driven by solving the problem of the rural areas. So when we were engaging with Jaipur Rugs mentioned it for how they can increase the productivity of their artisans and also reduce the operational risk and reduce the drudgery. So so this was the end state for us, and we started looking for technologies. We compiled a several list which could be relevant for Jaipur Rugs, and we shared. So one of the innovation which they eventually liked very much was Bageshwari Charkha. Now, Bageshwari Charkha is one of the oldest innovations from Uttarakhand region. And what IIT Roorkee has done, they tweaked the innovation and they enhanced capabilities of that innovation. So that's called as when you enhance an innovation, it's called incremental innovation. So basically, Bageshwari Charkha, they modified the Bageshwari Charkha and made it as an incremental innovation because it was ultimately increasing the productivity and also reducing the drudgery involved for participants. So we facilitated the interaction between IIT Roorkee and Jaipurx. Jaipurx team visited IIT Roorkee and they saw the product. When they saw the product, they said, this product is good, but we need certain modifications. And IIT Roorkee immediately started modifying because it was also an opportunity for them just to understand the user perspective, and they made the product as per the demand of Jaipurx. They made all the changes in that. So what happened? After this, when the Jaipur team again visited, they saw that the product was meeting the needs. So it was paid pilot opportunity for lab technology. It was a very user-centric approach by iterating the innovation. The first adoption list I spoke about, the disparity between the innovators and the end users. So we solved that problem. We did a feedback mechanism for innovators. So also it was because innovators are keep on looking for feedbacks. So this was also an opportunity to get a direct feedback and then iterate their innovations. And finally, the meeting CSR goals to investing into R&D technologies. So recently, our CSR protocol has been reframed to also investing into the R&D technology. So if you invest into R&D technology, how you are also meeting the CSR goal. So that was also one of the things from this engagement. What targeted, as I already mentioned, is operational. It reduced the drudgery, it reduced the productivity for the artists. And what in the end, as you can see, the feedback which we got was user-centric approach helps the artisans to increase the productivity they didn't imagine earlier. So what happened here was a very old innovation, Bageshwari Charkha. It was iterated by IIT Roorkee, and then it got adopted by Jaipurx. This way, they were using very prominent, very older technology from India, ancient from India, but with modern touch. Jaipurx is using it to make different products out, and this clearly a win-win situation for both the parties. Next slide, please. Now, CSC engage. So, as I already mentioned, Common Service Center. Common Service Center is an SPV under Ministry of Electronics, and it's a vast, it's the largest network of village level entrepreneurs, and they have 3.5 lakhs around across Pan India. And this is by the village level entrepreneurs. And the Common Service Center was initially set up to provide e-services to the rural India, and now it is evolving into the much more options, and they are providing a lot of services to the people who are living into the remote areas of India. So our end state here was how can we introduce technologies from public R&D and startup ecosystem to the people who are at the remote side of the country. So for that purpose, we started engaging with Common Service Center. So for that, we use design thinking methodology, where we first started understanding our users. So we spoke to a collective group of BLEs first, just to understand what is in the mind of a BLE. He looks for innovation. What is the mind of a person who is living in the rural community? How to solve it? We started understanding those perspectives. We just showcased several technologies to them, and it was very interesting for us to see that there are a lot of questions that are coming along. So we realized that because VLEs are spending where they are investing their money. So of course they want to interact directly with the innovators because ultimately a lot of questions to ask. We then piloted prototype type kind of a model where we conducted a positioning workshop. We went to district in Rajasthan, and we invited several VLEs from nearby villages and the community member to participate in the workshop. We used the digital medium because we don't wanted our startups to travel so we organized, and CSC being the largest online platform, we organized a session directly, this session where these startups started engaging and they started telling their VLE-centric model to the VLEs and how they can generate new revenue opportunities for them. So it was a great success for us. We received a lot of adoption, 14 adoption interests, and around 35 people participated. 14 adoption interests was also, and it was our first prototype model. So then we started thinking about what else we can do. How can we iterate this one? So we realized that because in our first prototype model, we presented different types of innovations from different sectors. So it was our challenge was just to understand what kind of innovations are available, what kind of problem statement available into the villages. So we decided to scale this approach to 800 digital villages. So we surveyed 800 VLEs and we identified the focus areas. If I mentioned that out of, because it was also one of the shock for us, out of 800 people, 415 said they are looking for, across India, they are looking for technologies in water sector. So that's where we realized that okay, water is an area where we need sort of new technology, where we need to present sort of new technology. And then there was agriculture, then rural finance, food processing, and so on. So once we identified the problem, the pain points, we started collating the startups. We started engaging with the startup, and we suggested the startup to tweak their business model as per the really centric, really need, because it was important for VLE just to, because in the end, here was a thought, this was a thought process. If they are investing money, they want to understand each and every bit of it, and they want to know how it will help them. And if a person who is spending 10 rupees, it's very cautious about it. So we have to make sure that we are actually hitting the right pain point, and we are providing technologies for them. Then right now we are conducting several workshops, the technology positioning workshop, digital medium, because of initially we used to go into, like I mentioned, we went to the district, and that was our plan. But because of the COVID-19, we completely shifted our physical plan to digital format. And right now presenting startup into the different sectors, include primarily include agriculture. We have covered the digital villages of Uttar Pradesh, and we have received great responses. So if any of the startup members who wants to directly engage with village level entrepreneurs and also want to showcase their innovations to village level entrepreneurs and the CSC itself, so please apply at www.agni.gov.in, and we'll be happy to evaluate your innovation. And please note that AGNIi is a pro bono service, so we'll be happy to facilitate all the needs you have right now. And then, if you want to connect with CSC, if you want to showcase your, please apply and keep us informed. Next slide, please.
Prakash, before we move on, there are two very interesting questions that have come up. Would you like to take them up at this point?
Sure, sure. Or should I finish my last slide because there's
Yes, yes,
last slide.
That would be great. Yeah, I have shared the screen.
Thank you. So next is this is my last case study, Mandesh. So because I am presenting, especially for the human development or social impact part, we collaborated with Mandesh Foundation to empower women entrepreneurs living into Maharashtra region. And it was also again, how can we increase revenues and operational risk associated with technology adoption? And for that, we again follow the similar mechanism as but with the help of similar to the common service center, but the engagement model was slightly different. We spoke to Mandesh Foundation. Mandesh Foundation gave us a list of innovations they are looking for, what their women entrepreneurs are looking for. Into the state of Maharashtra. They are very active into the 13 to Satara, New Bombay, Nashik, etc. So we participated first into the annual event of Mandesh Foundation, where we interviewed a lot of end users. We understood, okay, these are our target users and how can we engage them. After that, we started actively looking for technologies, because there was a lot of language barrier for us as well. Because personally, when I went there, I don't speak Marathi. So when I started understanding the innovation, it was slightly difficult for them. It was for me as well to explain them. So we started looking for those startups which are able to address their challenge into the language. They are not willing. Then we started looking for the translator. We facilitated the translator. The information can be properly to these entrepreneurs. And the feedback we received was these started targeting SDGs. Entrepreneurs have always found means of direct engagement challenge. So what we realized was most of these startups are not able to directly engage with these self-help groups, FPOs, to solve farm-based, non-farm-based based challenges. So we decided that we'll keep on following such approaches to help the startup, the innovators of our country, to engage with their end users and get the feedback and also increase more adoption opportunities. This could be in the pilot opportunity. This could be a paid order as well. So our way forward is right now we are engaging with Mandesh Foundation to scale into the major larger locations and much more wider audience. So having said that, I would like to end my presentation, and I'm looking for the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Prakarsh. Thank you, Ananya. There are two questions that have come up, and either one of you could answer it. So one is, how can a startup tap into the manufacturing/SME base that AGNIi provides? And is there a way you could help reduce the costs? This is with regards to manufacturing. I would go to the next one once you guys answer this.
Sure. Yeah. So basically, accessing the manufacturing base, we do have partners who work in the manufacturing space, like especially in contract manufacturing. It depends on the sector in which the sector the smaller startup is in. So the first step is, so the process of accessing the channels is just the same as we have mentioned before. So first you need to apply to agni.gov.in. That is a generic application form with some very basic level questions. As in, it'll take like a maximum of 10 minutes to fill that up. It'll need a pitch deck, which has to be in a certain format, and certain other parameters that needs to be filled up. And once the application is there in our system, we evaluate it based on our internal parameters. And then and there's a place where we ask, like, what exactly is the support that you need. So if the manufacturing support is listed over there, then we after that, we in the follow-up calls, we talk to the startup, we talk to the social impact organization, like basically whoever needs the manufacturing support. And once we understand, like, the geography that they operate in, the sector they are in, the kind of manufacturing partner they are looking at, their affordability, so we try to custom make the solution for them. So if we know that, suppose you are trying to manufacture some portion of an IC circuit board, and we know that you are based out of Rajasthan, and then we know that there's this plant in Alwar which does that, then we make those connections. So the accessing channel is essentially the same. Just come on to agni.gov.in and then we'll take it forward from there.
Thank you. Thanks, Ananya. The next one is, are there any new initiatives from the government's end that small and medium businesses should be aware of to leverage the growth through AGNIi platform?
Yeah, newer program, it's through AGNIi program. AGNIi has a very specific mandate. So, whatever I have outlined before, it's based on the priority areas of the Office of the PSA. A lot of the focus currently is on Atmanirbhar Bharat, and basically a lot of indigenization of industries. So if a startup or if any organization, social sector organization comes to us with their specific request, we try to talk to them on a one-on-one basis. There's specific schemes within AGNIi? No, like it's a broad mission. We don't do a scheme-wise thing, but our operating model is the same. If anyone comes to us with some kind of support and it's within our mandate, we can support them.
Prakash, would you like to add something to Ananya's points?
And also,
Prakash, your voice is breaking a lot.
am I audible?
Yes.
I am switching my video just to facilitate the conversation because.
Sure, sure.
Hello.
Yes, Prakash, we can hear you.
I'm audible.
Yes.
I am really sorry. Unfortunately, its network is some problem. I'm really sorry for the audience. So yes, just to add to what Anya said, we have a Startup India, which is our sister partner as well. So if you have any questions related to startups and you want to reach out to them, please feel free to reach us. We'll be happy to facilitate the connect. So because we are under the larger umbrella of Invest India, so centric concern or something where we feel like Invest India, larger Invest India team can help you, we'll be happy to facilitate the connect there.
Got it. There is one more question that I just put it on the chat box, which says, how long does the review process take to consider a startup for support? And yes. Guys, yeah, so that was the question.
So, if you are applying for, if you are applying typically for common service center to directly engage with eligible entrepreneurs, please apply and drop us an email to agni.support@investindia.org.in. We'll be happy to review the application immediately and have a discussion with you. And apart from that, we usually take 2 to 3 weeks to evaluate and to put yourself on innovation showcase on our website. So that's our standard process.
Got it. So yes, I think this was really great. Any closing remarks that you guys want to sort of anything that you want to leave with our audience, more like a food for thought for them before we wrap up the session?
Ananya, do you want to try? And then I'll.
Prakash, your voice is breaking.
Guys,
No, I was just.
I'm sorry.
I was just.
There is another question that has come up just as we were wrapping, if you guys could take that up. It says, could you please highlight the approaches that you adopt to empower micro rural entrepreneurs? This just came in as we were wrapping up.
Prakash, would you want to address that?
Yeah. Yeah, I will. Thank you, Ananya. Am I audible? It's unfortunate for me that my internet connection is so unstable today. So, am I audible? Okay. So yes, as I mentioned about the approaches earlier. So one is we evaluate the application, and if we see that they have a potential to engage with different foundations, different larger entities from the government body like CSCs, we immediately help the startup to understand what are the challenges they might have, so that where they can their kind of business model, and then we facilitate the innovations showcase. And if they receive a lot of interest from these participants, then we share all the details. You can also what we do not pay of the cost related discussion, because being a government program, we are a pro bono program. So this is set up just to support the innovation ecosystem. So when it comes to the any discussion to the money, we will not be engaging into such discussions. So we'll request our that stage we request our unit to directly engage and take the conversation forward.
Yeah, so firstly, we would like to thank Anusha and Wilgrow India for this opportunity to talk about our program to a broad audience. And so thank you for that. And apart from that, what we would want to end with is basically India is open for innovation, right? Many of the audience, many members of the audience today are involved in technological innovation in the social sector. So if any social enterprise is looking forward to some specific support from AGNIi and broader from the Office of the Principal Scientific Advisor, they can approach us. Even VC partners, angel investors, or different accelerators, incubators, even a broader development organization which is looking for specific startups. And in these sectors, they can reach out to us. We have kind of geared this presentation mostly from the point of view of social enterprises who will be needing that support, like which is on the supply side for us. But even on the demand side, if there's anyone who has some specific needs who will want AGNIi to address it, please drop in an email at the same email ID, agni.support@investindia.org.in. Or you can also find us like, I think with the descriptions, our email IDs, Prakash and my email IDs will be shared. So just drop in an email and we'll be happy to facilitate any of your needs. Thank you.
Also, just to add, from our understanding, like human development, we have a lot of prejudice and bias, especially for from the perspective we have seen. So it's to adopt a user-centric model to understand what our users are looking for. So that's where we have seen a lot of potential into our India innovations, and we just need to tweak our approaches a little bit, and we have ample number of options. Thank you.
Great. A big thank you, Ananya and Prakash, for spending time with us today. And it was such a delight to be part of this session. And I'm sure all these social entrepreneurs are now aware of the support that's available for them from AGNIi. So coming up next, we have a session around why now is a great time for entrepreneurship in agriculture and thriving, not striving, sales strategies for success. So the audience can also meet Ruben from Mentera and Om from Dr. Lal Path Labs in the networking lounges. So thank you all who joined us and see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.